community of Missouri. However, I'm also in a coalition of LGBT leaders and organizational leaders in which we have been, we formed in November of last year to address the various issues of the LGBT community that aren't being addressed completely. And we're meeting informally outside of our organizations where we can work these issues and try and solve them or bring them to the proper organization that that can work these. In other words, in coalition is the best way to solve a problem instead of trying to do something on your own. So when we first got together, we were all asked to bring our laundry list of issues that we felt were in the LGBT community. And each person from Promo, from Alive St. Louis, One St. Louis, Sage, Transhaven, we all brought in our laundry list of what we felt were the issues of the community that we felt that we should sit back and take care of. Interesting enough, you know, everyone talked a couple of minutes and they listed a couple of things, and I brought in this real long laundry list for the transgender community. As you all know, the transgender community is way far behind in, let's just say, equality, and I was pointing out what needed to be done. They're, in more cases than not, preoperative. And the shelters are not designed for trans. The idea was to provide emergency shelter for trans people that were threatened with hate crime. Here, first week of frigid weather, I started getting the phone calls from trans people saying, where can I go for shelter? Unfortunately, I had nowhere to send them.
Over the 10 years of volunteering, I've been perplexed a little bit about homelessness in terms of what is available to us to use as a resource. So at our core, you know, we're a support organization, meaning we provide support. We don't have the structured staff, and we certainly don't have exact systems that maybe a typical nonprofit would have. So we have to be creative. Well, I remember probably about 7 years ago, there was a young bisexual woman who said that that she was staying at a shelter, and after a group one night, she asked if she could get a ride because it was raining. So I dropped her off, and she was staying at the time at Covenant House, and I asked her about it, and she said, well, it's okay. Like, she doesn't feel completely safe there, but it's sort of what she has, so she's kind of maintaining the street. And she didn't exactly feel targeted there, but she didn't feel welcome there either. Get referrals from folks, and even youth will tell us about other youth that are even in the room with us, that we don't always have the luxury of knowing their full situation. The homeless arena, it really hadn't emerged yet. Some folks have offered us safe houses that could be temporary spaces, and I appreciate that. But at the same time, you know, we've gotten burned with that a couple times. So I don't always, so youth that end up homeless or in great need, we always want to make sure that any place we send them is not going to re-victimize them. In the girl's house or the boy's house, or I think that's how they called it. But this was a person that they just felt that, you know, it wasn't a good fit. This is a person who presented as female, who lived in their male house because that's how they understood what to do. And the staff sort of understood a little bit, but didn't really understand. Certainly didn't have any language that would be supportive. But when the youth was out of the situation, and maybe hopefully in a better situation, the staff realized that they needed to do some education. And so I saw it as an opportunity, and so we brought LGBT youth with us, including trans youth, to do a training for their staff. And what was nice is that their staff basically wanted very much so to do the right thing. But you know, nobody's ever talked to them about the unique needs of LGBT youth. And so they were sort of asking all the questions that you would think would be sort of stereotypical about someone getting to know LGBT community. And it was wonderful to see them wanting to progress quickly. Since then, we've done 4 trainings with them, including training specifically, we've been invited to train the youth that were there. And what's interesting is that because they have a temporary housing, like a crisis floor, and they also have a more long-term floor, the youth, there's some turnover there. So just because you train, youth or staff on a particular time period does not mean that you don't have to train the rest, and or that the exact same experience that's happening today is going to be there in a matter of months. Sometimes we don't have the exact choices. So when you think about a need, there's definitely a need for more welcoming places. I don't believe that we have, I know that we have many systems in place in St. Louis to support those who are homeless, but I don't always know that those resources are LGBT friendly. But I believe that there are plenty of workers within these systems that are LGBT friendly. Sometimes we just have to turn them up a little bit. And then lastly,
I became homeless 14 months ago. My parents, aunts, uncles, nieces and nephews, brothers and sisters became known years ago that I was openly gay. They had no problem with it.
If you're trans and you're homeless, there's probably no more perfect rendition of hell than to have to live in a shelter. The problem, and Robin has touched on them, is that you don't fit with the population you identify with. In general, we would have to totally deny who and what we are.